Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Terrence. How are you doing on this beautiful Tuesday? Hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Terrence. So what I got to do is go put this thing on WhatsApp because people are starting to check in and come in. So let's put it on WhatsApp real quickly, all right? So everybody can take a look at it real quickly. Tuesdays with Terrence. Let's get it on there. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's copy the link, go to WhatsApp, put it on there so that everybody can participate. How are you doing this evening? It's Tuesday. It's Tuesdays with Terrence. You know, we usually make it blue. Maybe today we'll make it green. We'll make it blue, which is our normal color. So welcome. Let me put this. Let me say I am live. Hopefully people will tune in. Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Terrence. My name is H. Terrence Bardui. Some people call me H. Some people call me Havis. Some people call me Terrence. Some people call me Mr. Bardui. But if you're from the 767, Whitey Kubuli, tall is her body, the Commonwealth of Dominica, and you're from Point Michelle, St. Luke's Parish, aka La Pointe, you call me Luku Boy. Dominica made me, Boston raised me, now the South sustains me. How are you beautiful people doing tonight? Let me go onto Instagram and make it live on Instagram. Let's go live. We're already live on Instagram. Let's make sure it's working. Boom. Welcome. I have a great show in plan for you tonight. So hopefully you will participate. So if you come on, say hello so I can shout you out. If you don't shout out, I cannot give you a shout out if you don't say hello. Some of you come on and you don't say hello. It's okay. I'm not mad at you for that. You know, just come on and chill for a little bit with me every Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'm wearing my shirt Tuesdays with Terrence. I was told by someone, how come you don't wear your Tuesdays with Terrence shirt? I said, I put it on, you know, so I got it on and I'm ready to rock and roll. So while we're doing that, we're going to play our theme song and start the show. Let's get it on. Let's get it on, man. Here we go. Oh, man. There we go. Start it over again. So nice, you got to do it twice. Dominica made me. That's where it all began. Island breeze, coconut trees, the heart of my plan. From the hills and the smiles to the songs of the seas, that island spirit molded the person I've been. Ow! Boston raised me with its hustle and grind. City light shining, dreams intertwined. In the heart of this town, I found my way. A licensed financial pro, ready for the fray. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. How are you? Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. Yes. On those snowy streets, learn to stand tall, navigating life, every rise, every fall. From the commons to the brownstones, I made my claim. With every lesson learned, I embraced my name. Boston raised me with its hustle and grind. City light shining, dreams intertwined. In the heart of this town, I found my way. A licensed financial pro, ready for the fray. Woo! Now the South sustains me with its warm embrace, a community of strength and love in every space. From the bayous to the beaches, I found my place in this journey of finance. I've learned to chase grace. Dominica made me, Boston raised me high. The South sustains my soul as I reach for the sky. With every sunrise, I'm thankful and free. A licensed financial pro, just being me. There goes the outro. So here's to the roots that shaped who I am. From Dominica's beauty to Boston's Grand Slam. In the South I stand strong with purpose and pride. Together with my journey, side by side. Wow. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. Actually, a client just called me, and I'm actually going to text him and tell him I'm doing Tuesdays with Terrence. I'm going to say, I am doing my podcast now. I am doing my show now. We'll call you later. We'll call you later. And I hope it's good news. I hope it's good news. But anyways, how are you beautiful people doing? Hope everyone's doing fine. Welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Terrence. My name is H. Terrence Bardui. Some people call me H. Some people call me Havis. Some people call me Terrence. Some people call me Mr. Bardui. If you're from the 767 Whitey Kubuli, tallest of body, the Commonwealth of Dominica, you call me little boy. But if you're from Point Michel, aka La Pointe, you call me Luku boy. Dominica made me, Boston raised me, now the South sustains me. How are you doing tonight? If it's Tuesday, it must be Tuesdays with Terrence, right? I have a great show planned for you tonight. We're going to talk about poor people, rich people, and wealthy people. Poor people, rich people, and wealthy people. Now, I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm not here to classify anyone in any of the categories. All I know is it's Tuesdays with Terrence. So I'm wearing my shirt, Tuesdays with Terrence. I got my Kamen in Dominican Patois. That means you know what I'm saying. And in the back of my shirt, it says Bardui Financial Services. That's my last name. So how are you guys doing? How's everybody doing today? Hope everyone's doing well. Just a couple of things. I know in the Commonwealth of Virginia, there's a big vote day for the yes, no, or for voting yes or no on the gerrymandering. I say vote yes. Vote yes, you know. Martha, oh my gosh, she's watching. My client is watching. I just sent you a little shout out to let you know I'm doing my live right now, and I will call you. I'm done at 8 o'clock. As soon as I'm done, I will give you a call, my dear. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're taking care of yourself. Hope you are managing, enjoying the warmth and the cold and all the different weather. So welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. So today, my show is entitled, It Must Be Tuesday. So it's Tuesdays with Terrence. So we're going to talk about tonight the poor, the rich, and the wealthy. All right. Now you might like, what is he going to talk? For those of you who follow me on social media and you watch my stories on Facebook, I actually put it on my story on Facebook. And you'll see what the AI young man has been saying about the poor, the rich, and the wealthy. So what category do you fall in? Do you fall into the poor, the rich, or the wealthy? It really doesn't matter. It's all about getting knowledge and then changing your mindset. So again, welcome to Martha. Thanks for tuning in tonight. I just sent you that because when you called me, my theme song was playing. I don't think you heard it, but I just want you to know I'll play it if you can watch the whole thing, great. If you can't, it's understood, but I am going to call you at 8 o'clock. We'll be done by then. So for those of you who are watching on different platforms, let me see if there's anybody on Instagram so I can give them a shout out. June, my big sister's watching. Good night. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. Today, that call I was saying I was going to make, I made that call to the family member, and I'm waiting for a call back. So I did that, okay? So all we can say is prayers. Good to see you, big sis. Thanks for supporting the show. And for everybody else who's watching, welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. Good evening to Peach Goodwill. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the rich, the wealthy, and the poor, or the poor, the rich, and the wealthy. It depends where you are. So for those of you who are watching, I'm glad, I can see some of my clients are watching as well. People come in and out, and that's certainly fine. Some people watch and they never comment, and that's okay. But I'm wearing my Tuesdays with Terrence tonight. So let's take a look at the markets. Mr. Alvin, good to see you. The poor, the rich, and the wealthy. That's correct. We're going to talk about that. And first of all, let me give a disclaimer. We're not calling anyone poor. We're not calling anybody rich. We're not calling anybody wealthy. I'm going to talk about how those different demographics of people, how they handle finances or how they handle the situation of financial literacy. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. All right. And for those of you who went on my Facebook page and looked at my story, there was a little AI clip on there, and we'll talk about that tonight. But let me just, before we do that, let's just see how the market's doing. Today, I was watching some congressional hearings on the new chairman of the Federal Reserve, because the president's trying to get rid of Powell, right? But the funny thing is the markets were down again because there's more volatility in the Middle East. Earlier, it was up. The Dow Jones was down 293.18 today. The NASDAQ was down 144.43. So the tech stocks took a little beating today, and the Standard & Poor's is 45.13. But the S&P, I believe it's still at an all-time high, over 7,000. The NASDAQ is over 24. So that's good as well. And the Dow Jones, earlier this year, it was over 50,000, but it's just dropped because of the wars and rumors of wars and all the things that's going on. I want you all to understand life goes on. Regardless of what's going on in the world, you still have to maintain. I mean, there are some times I don't want to do this show. Today is one of those days I didn't want to. My neck was hurting. I feel like I got a headache. But guess what? At 20 minutes to 7, I'm like, it's Tuesdays with Terrence. I put my shirt on. I get excited. Folks, I'm going on 7 years of doing this every Tuesday, and I've never missed a show, ever. I've done this thing sick, kind of sick, semi-sick, sad, happy, gleeful, mad, upset, peaceful, and I'm here. And the good thing about this, on Tuesdays, when I see certain people come on, I get excited and rejuvenated to do the show. So thank you for all my supporters who watch and continue to watch. So tonight, I just told you guys about, let's see. Okay, we'll talk about this later. All right. I told you guys tonight we're going to talk about the poor, the rich, and the wealthy, right? So I just gave you what happened in the stock market, So those of you who have whether 401ks, stocks, mutual funds, 5 to 9 current savings plans, variable, not universal life or index universal, but variable universal life. All of you guys, the market, it was a big hit, but it took a big hit, a semi-big hit today. And that's part of the journey. All right. So I consider myself the safe money guy. My clients never, ever lose a penny. And if my clients actually listen, take my advice, and do what I always say, do what I say, do what I recommend. I'm going to tell you guys a joke about me. My clients that I'm really good with and my A1 clients, I classify my clients not by how much money they have. I classify them by how A1, B1, C1, D1. And you don't have to have a lot of wealth to be an A1 client. It's just that when you take my advice, it means that you understood that there is something you have to, there's some decisions that you have to make. So you made those decisions. And it's really, really important. Like I always tell my clients, I was talking to this lady a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking to a guy. I had an appointment with him yesterday, but I had to cancel it because of a family emergency. But I was telling him that when I make a recommendation, it's actually not a recommendation. Listen to me very carefully. When I give a recommendation to my clients, it's not a recommendation. It's an order. But I cannot order you to do anything. You're an adult. You have your own money, your own life, your own house, your own this, your own that. So I can't say, you know what, John Doe or Jane Doe, you got to do this. No, you don't have to. You don't got to do nothing. Not a doggone thing. But the wise ones take my advice and they put themselves in a better financial position. It doesn't matter how much you have or how much you don't have, but the ones who take my advice put themselves in a better financial position. And there are some people who at times, procrastinate. And I'm not here to blame you because you procrastinated, because I'm the chief of procrastinators. I'm the king. I'm the king of procrastinators. But I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be better than me. I want you to make the right decisions for your family, for yourself, for your children. It's so funny now. On this coming Sunday, this weekend I have a conference to attend, for church. But then, on Sunday I have an appointment, and it's a referral from one of my colleagues, and I'm going to be talking to multiple families at one time. And the important thing here is that talking to them at one time is like, some people are going to listen, some people are not going to listen. Some people are going to say, well, I'll get back to you. Some people are going to say, I'm not sure yet, I'm not ready yet. And all that is okay. But when life happens to you, man, and life's happening right now, I'm going through something with a family member. Life is happening right now. And when life happens, it's too late. Guys, I keep educating, pontificating, teaching, and telling people what they have to do or what they should do. Let me rephrase that, what they should do. Although it's a have to do, but what you should do, but it's up to you. It's up to you. And sometimes life happens. So let's look at the categories. Now, I'm going to talk about poor people. Now, you can categorize poor however you want to. All right. Poor people, all they do is talk about money. Where's my money at? Always trying to scheme a way to get money, or always doing this or doing that. And sometimes it's beyond their control. All right. Because they're limited. I want to say good evening to Marie Jean-Pierre. Thank you for tuning in to Tuesdays with Terrence. Tuesdays with Terrence. Merci appeal for tuning in. Quand même. So tonight, our show, technically, if it's Tuesday, it must be Tuesdays with Terrence. And we're going to address poor people, rich people, and wealthy people. Now, my disclaimer is this is not words for anybody. So don't take it personal and say, Terrence is talking about me because he might know my situation. No, I never do that. I never talk about anyone on the show. What I do, I may tell you, I may use examples of what some of my clients have done and some of the things they haven't done, but this is not an indictment on anyone, okay? Put this disclosure out there. So poor people, rich people, and wealthy people. Poor people talk about money. They always, where's my money at? Or they're always trying to scheme a way to get money, or it's like everything is money, money, money. Because they're poor. And sometimes it's beyond their control, right? But if you're poor, it's your objective to still save. Now, you have to do what the rich and what the wealthy does, but it's not going to be on their scale. I know people who are on fixed income, either Social Security or Social Security disability, and they've still made some financial decisions. Now, we're not talking about paying your bills. Everybody got to do that. You got to pay your rent, your mortgage, your light bill, your water bill, your gas bill, your phone bill, your this bill, your that bill, there used to be a Calypso song, bills to pay, water bills to pay. I going crazy. That's an old song. For you young people, you don't know about that old soca song. But anyways, you're going to have bills, all right? But even if you're poor, you cannot always be thinking about money, because sometimes what does the good book says? The love of money is the root of all evil. Not money, because you need money's almost like air. You need it for, every day, right? But to love it, when the good book talks about the love of money is the root of all evil, what it means by that is like you're always scheming. Or we had a discussion last week. I talked about it a little bit. We were coming from the hospital to visit a sick member, me and the pastor, and Sandy. And basically, the pastor said, "Oh, here's the casino." And I said, "How you know that's a casino?" And the pastor said, I saw the sign. I said, yeah, you saw the sign? How you know that's a casino? Now, I'm not here to disparage anyone who goes to casinos. Well, there's nowhere in the Bible that it says gambling is is a sin, right? But if you are poor and you're spending all of your disposable income on either lottery tickets, slots or casinos, you may have a problem. Not may, but you do. And you cannot cut your finger to spite your hand, because there are some people who are very disciplined. They say, if I go with $100, if I lose my $100, I'm done. If I'm up, I'm up. And they're disciplined. But some people will take not equity line of credit, but a credit line on their credit card to do that. Now, who am I to preach and teach and tell you that you're a bad person? No. But what I do know is if it's affecting your daily responsibilities, as a poor person, maybe you should redirect your thoughts into creative ways to have a budget. And listen, for those of you who gamble, right? Or you go to casinos, or you play the slots, or the mega billions. When you hit, make sure I get my cut. And when you hit, make sure you call me so I can help you put it in a safe place, right? But my point is, don't let that consume you. Because if you look in marginalized communities, like my church is in a marginalized city, Petersburg, Virginia. But there's slot machines in every little store. They got them. Every little store is selling lottery tickets. They just open up a casino. They're building one, and now they have it under a tent, and then they're gonna. But you know what? People do it as a hobby. Some people are professionals. But it cannot run your life. So poor people talk about money. Where's my money at? Always look at a way to scheme. You try to, by the hook or the crook, you got to get money. Illegal ways, or sometimes even stealing. Stealing is immoral and it's also a crime. All right. But I'm saying here, even if you're not, there was a lady, I read an article years and years ago in Maine. The most the lady made a year was like $37,000, the most in a year. Some of my colleagues last week did more than that in business. My point I'm trying to say to you about that lady, 37,000, she was a millionaire. Well, you may call her thrifty, you may call her cheap, you may call her a tightwad, you can call her whatever you want. But her objective was to make sure she had the right stuff in place, right? To make sure she had the right stuff in place. And that's what she did. So it's not how much you make, it's how much you save. Now, you may have expensive taste. I don't care what your taste is. That's up on you, all right? However, make sure you don't leverage or mortgage your lifestyle to keep up with the Joneses. Because you don't know what the Joneses is doing. You don't know what the Joneses are doing. You don't know who's taking care of the Joneses. You don't know what they're doing illegally, immorally, psychologically. I don't know. So don't compare yourself to the Joneses. And a lot of poor people do that. I've heard people say, well, when I hit the Mega Millions or when I hit, I'm like, do you know what the odds are? It's like 150 million to 1 or something more than that. But people say that all the time. So when you're poor, money, they're always talking about money. All right? That's what poor people do. And I'm not categorizing anybody as poor. Because if you guys are wealthy and rich, send some over here. All right? Send some over here. And I don't mean to help you protect it, but give it to me as your friend. All right? I'm taking it. So that's the poor mentality. Right? Like people, like they're always like nickel and diming, everything, they nickel and diming you for everything. It's like they, money is like their they're God. You know, they're always nickel and diamond. And sometimes it's not their fault because they don't make much or they don't have much, but then they want to live above their means as well. That's something that's really not a good thing, right? So that is the poor. All right. So anybody falls in that category, I'm not here to ostracize you or say that you're bad. No, what I'm saying to you, that's always on your mind, because when you don't have the resources, it causes stress. I must be poor because look, I got all this gray hair, right? And what I'm saying to you guys is, so that's the poor mentality when it comes to money. All right. So remember, we're going to talk today. We're going to talk about the poor, the rich, and the wealthy. All right. The rich folks, a lot of them want you to see what cars they have, what homes they have, what vacations where they're going, or what yachts they have, or what they always got to be in vogue. Rich people. Now, it doesn't mean that the rich person is not able to pay their bills, because the poor person may be struggling. But the rich person, everything got to be a status quo. They won't wear a watch. Well, this watch was a gift from Sandy for my birthday. What is this? It says Kenneth Cole on it. It was either Christmas or birthday. I've never bought a Kenneth Cole watch, but it's very nice. I wear it. I don't, like you guys know, I don't really wear jewelry, but this is what I earned at my agency. Give it to the VIPs here, and I put it on when I recruit and when I do the show, and I take it off. I don't need it after that, right? So that it's 24 karat gold. It's very heavy. It costs thousands of dollars. I know that for a fact. Because when that was awarded to me during the pandemic in 2020 for my business that I was doing, I lost mine in a client's yard. And the client always kept telling me if they find it, they ain't giving it back to me. We dig the yard, we couldn't find it. I was chopping a coconut for the client's wife. And it was the ring was in my hand. And when I was cutting it, shaking like that, it flew off, and there was thorns. So we couldn't find it. So we had to replace it. It cost thousands of dollars. So therefore, I just say that, but that's something I earned based on my hard work and my ability to help middle American families. All right. So rich people, they always have to have, they got to wear the Gucci or the Louis Vuitton or right. Some of them, they got to show that off. Right. Now, nothing is wrong with that if you can afford it. Nothing. So for rich people, they have to have the status quo. They have to have the nice cars, the big homes or multiple homes. They have a summer home, a winter home, or this home, that home. And they always got to be flexing because they always want people to see that they have. Now, those people may have also done some investing or protecting or got an inheritance, Remember Anna Nicole Smith back in the day when she married that billionaire oil guy? The guy was like 102. She was like 38 or something like that, 36. I probably should got a lot of right. So you can inherit that stuff, or it could be a man inherited from his wife. Oprah is a billionaire. Stedman, she never married him, but is he getting her millions? I don't know. Her billions? I don't know. So it happens both ways. So status for them is very, very important. They always got to be flexing. They got to let like some of the ballers, some of the basketball players and football players and baseball players, the athletes, they're very wealthy because at some of them didn't go to college. So at 18, 19, like Cooper Flagg was the number 1 pick in the NBA draft last year, Dallas. He came in the league at age 18. He had reclassified in high school, and went to Duke for a year. And last year, this is his rookie year. He's a multi-millionaire now with his contract with the NBA and his endorsements. But I think he has a good family behind him. His parents, his mom, they're probably living with him because he's only 18. He can't even go in a bar and drink. He can vote, but he's still he's not even 21, right? So, but you see all these athletes, they gotta have a Range Rover, or they gotta have a Lamborghini, or they gotta have one of those high-end cars. And you know what? They've been working hard since they were like 6 years old, playing Little League and Pop Warner. And, they've earned it. Okay. They've worked hard. They've been in the gym, pumping, trying to look strong and all that, practice their jump shot, catching the football, throwing the baseball, kicking the soccer ball, playing the tennis, whatever sports that they're doing, a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them flex because they have the money. So for you going and buy a car cash for 50 grand or 75 grand, now cars cost 100 grand, right? You're like, it is what it is. I just saw someone the other day, who was paying like over $700 for a car. It was like a little four small cylinder car. Now, it doesn't mean that the person is bad. They went through some stuff, so they had to sacrifice and do that, And they had asked me my advice about getting a truck. And I said, if you're paying $700 for that little car, can you imagine what you'll be paying for a truck a month? Probably double that, because you don't have the disposable income, nor do you have the down payment. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, the rich have the status quos. And I'm not here to blame anybody who has, designer stuff, or you have a nice house, a nice car, nice clothing. No, that's not my point. I'm telling you, rich people got to flex that. They do. You go to certain parts of, I grew up in Boston, in certain enclaves, like in Wellesley and Newton and Brookline. You see these huge mansions. And even now, I've left Boston. Gosh, it's 21 years ago I left. Next month, make it 21 years. Now you have places that's developed like in the Seaport District, and even with the not gerrymandering, with the gentrification of Boston, triple deckers are like 500 grand, $1 million now. It is. So rich people, that's what they do. All right. Rich people, they gotta flex. They gotta show. They gotta let you know that they got it. And you work hard for your money, or you played sports hard for your money, you sang hard for your money, or you rap hard for your money, or you invest in hard for your money, and then you have it. Yo, that's your thing. I'm not saying you're bad. That's not my point. You can be the nicest person and be lousy with money, and you can be the lousiest person. You can be the lousiest person and be great with money, right? Or vice versa. I can't even say it right, but you get my point. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying to you, the poor is always talking about money and always, where's my money? And that's what they're thinking about. And the rich, they got to show you their cars, their yachts, they take, they rent private jets, to get to and fro, because first class ain't even good enough for them no more. They gotta flex. But some people who are rich manage it well. I read something that LeBron James don't pay for Wi-Fi in hotels. I don't blame him. I don't even like using the toll unless I have to. I used it a couple of nights ago because it was a family emergency and I had to go out of town from about 85 miles from where I live. And I went to the toll real quick. But if I'm just going home from somewhere, I'm not using the tolls. If I'm going to New York or, Boston, yeah, you got to pay the tolls on the New Jersey Turnpike, New York, Delaware, Maryland, you got to do that. But I'm not just doing that because I got to do it. I'm not doing that. All right. Now, that is the rich. So we got it so far. The poor, money, they always, where's my money at? Looking for the money, right? Because they can't help themselves. They don't have the resources. The rich have the resources, but they got to flex. They got to flex so everybody can see what they have. All right. I want to say good evening to my business partner, Cavell Scott. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. How's everything in Cambridge today? Hope you're doing well. Good talking to you last night, and welcome back from Jamaica with your tan. So that is the rich, right? Now, it doesn't mean they don't own stuff. It doesn't mean they don't have trust. They don't have, investments and, protection and all that stuff. But they got to flex because they want you to know. Some of them are snotty, turn their nose up, their mouth up. They act funny. They treat like people, restaurants or servants or people. I know some, not all of them, but some of them. They just snotty, right? But I'm not saying all of them. But rich people, they got to flex. You got to, you don't have to be rich to do that. But they have their shirt with their cufflinks and their initials, and nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I know regular people who do that. So we talked about the poor. We talked about the rich. Now, let's talk about the wealthy. And this is what I like about the wealthy. They talk about ideas. Now, you have capitalists who's always trying to take advantage of people during COVID, not in COVID, through capitalism. They do a lot of it. But some of them are wealthy people. They're always thinking about ideas of how to make more. Rich too. But the wealthy people don't have to flex because they're already there. Oprah's not flexing if she has a jet. Tyler Perry's not flexing because he has a jet. They're billionaires. Now you see, the players are millionaires and the owners are billionaires. And the fans go in to watch the games at $1,000. So you're supporting the lifestyle, right? You might go to a game and you get a hot dog and a drink and a pretzel. It probably costs you $40, $50 or more, right? But that's capitalism. That's how, stuff works. But the wealthy, they're talking about ideas. See, wealthy people, they're not going to buy just a house. They'll buy the whole block. The wealthy people, now, they may capitalize, and there's a company called, I don't want to call its name because, you can get sued by saying so, but there's a company. I almost called the name, by the way. But what they do is they go into impoverished areas in the inner city or wherever, or even in urban areas as well, urban and rural areas. And they just buy all the houses. They fix them up. And they sell one house for way above market value to one of their cronies. So that brings the property value in the area up, taxes, right? And then it cuts out the little people who were in that area before. Now, it's good for you to a certain degree, but you ain't selling your house. That's where you live. That's where you do your stuff. So you can't compete with big tech companies or big investors on Wall Street, and they do that kind of stuff. And I'm not here. I saw a video. It was either on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, or WhatsApp. I can't remember where I saw it. Somebody posted it, and this one person was saying people are talking about money this, money that. They don't need money. They don't want money. And the person was saying, well, give me yours. If they say stuff, people say, if I knew when I got that money, I was going to be like that, I wouldn't want it. The person was like, give me your money. No, that's on Facebook. Someone I was following who said that. Give me that money. Now, money is not the problem. It's how you handle it and manage it. That's the issue. So if you're spending all your money and you're not budgeting, you're not saving, and you have a lifestyle you cannot sustain, well, whose fault is that? And I'm not saying anything is wrong with nice stuff, folks. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. Look at Zuckerberg. You ever see how Mark Zuckerberg dresses? Most of the time, if he's not going to a big function, like an inauguration or a big wedding in India, this dude got like a t-shirt and jeans with holes in it. Jay-Z too, billion. Well, Jay-Z's nowhere worth what Zuckerberg is worth. Zuckerberg is one of the richest men in the world. Elon Musk, when he was doing Doge, couldn't stand the dude. He had his cap on, a t-shirt and a blazer. They wasn't trying, and sneakers. They wasn't trying to, you don't have to wear Stacy Adams or have, $500 shoes, or maybe they could afford it. And Zuckerberg is buying all his property in Hawaii as well. My point I'm trying to make here is that, but those people are thinking about ideas and how they can create more. Now, the poor people cannot do that because they don't have the literacy. If you can't feed your family and you can't pay your bills, how the hell are you thinking about building? You can't. Or it's impossible for you to think that way because you are strapped. Some of you are big shots. You got a lot of money. You ain't strapped, but some of us, sometimes we're strapped. Remember, you ever heard the term borrow Peter to pay Paul? But the wealthy think about ideas. They think about how they can make more and they invest more. The rich do too as well, and the poor can't because they don't have the disposable income to do that. But it doesn't mean you can't put $10 aside every month or $20. Yes, you can. You don't want to. Because when it starts growing, you're going to dip into it for your habits and your vices. That's the problem. You see, I had a young lady on my show from Finance Focus, Luana Luan from Dominica, and she said this. So I asked her this question. I said, well, and I picked on the ladies because she was a woman. I said, the ladies like to get their hair done, their nails did, their toes done, their this, that, their massage on. She said, put it in your budget. But if it's not in your budget, you can't do it. Like one of my clients, I text them, the other day about something. And they said, good morning. I'm here doing my toes. They're giving themselves a pedicure. Now, this person, trust me, they own 2 homes. I know their net worth. They can afford a pedicure. But they were giving themselves one. Now, listen to me. Now, if you don't have someone to do it for you, I got one. Was it this month or last month I got one? Thank you. Said, praise the Lord. But my point is, I'm saying here, I'm not telling you not to do those things. I'm saying to you, those things cannot come in front of your literacy. So wealthy people, that's not an issue for them. They don't worry about bills. What they're thinking about is how they can create more wealth. They don't worry about, they have servants, they have drivers, they got lawn people, they got homes in the Caribbean, they have a yacht, they have a home in New York, one in Hawaii, one in Colorado, Aspen for skiing, one in Florida on that billionaire road that they talk about. They got them everywhere. But you know what? Those people have the money. So you may not be wealthy, you may not be rich, you may be poor, or you may not be poor, you may be middle class or lower middle class or upper middle class, but it doesn't matter what category you fall in. The key is, are you doing what you're supposed to do? And when you get the advice, do you take advantage of it? So like a lot of times I talk to people, and talking to them sometimes is like pulling teeth, because people think like, how is this benefiting him? It's not benefiting me. Yeah, the companies, pay me. But my point is, we're showing you how to put yourself in a better financial situation. And sometimes people don't want to listen. Sometimes people are embarrassed of their financial situation. I always tell them, I don't care if you're a millionaire or a pauper. I got clients who are paupers and I got clients who are millionaires. And in between. No, I don't have any ballers as clients, and the Jay-Z's and the Lil Wayne and the Bruno Mars and the singers, Mary J. But I'm saying to you, there's people who've diligently worked hard for 20, 30 years, some 40 years. And then when they're ready to retire, they want to protect what they have. And that's where I come in. You cannot tell me you work 10, 20, 30 years, and now that you're retiring, um, you you're still paying people to, instead of having someone show you how to protect what you have, that you spend all these decades working. And it doesn't matter if you live up north and you sell your house, you move down south for the Caribbean. It doesn't matter if you live in the south, or if you live in the west, the Midwest, or the north. I don't care where you live. The concepts are universal. I don't care if you live in a different country. Saving has nothing to do with where you live. Savings has to do with a mindset, a disciplined mindset. And what I'm not going to do is, what I'm not going to do is this. Sit here and listen to you or watch you do all this kind of stuff. And then when you get yourself in a pickle, you expect, GoFundMe's, and you expect people to bail you. No. We're not doing that anymore. We buried those things years ago. So you don't have to be a billionaire to start using those financial literacy concepts. You don't have to be a millionaire. You don't have to be 1,000-year. You could be under 1,000-year. But make sure you are doing what you need to do. If something happens to you, do you have your stuff in order? Do you have a medical proxy? Does your family know what to do if something happens to you? If you own property, and if you own a house, or do you have a trust? We spend money on foolishness. Sometimes I know I've spent money on a lot of foolish stuff. Last year I did. And I'm in the industry. So can you imagine those of you who are not? The key here, folks, is making sure that whatever category you're in, poor, rich, or wealthy, or even poor, middle class, upper middle class, is there a lower middle class? I don't know. Rich or wealthy, that the concepts remain the same. That you make sure that you're doing what you have to do. And take the advice, folks, from people who can help you. You can't be telling me you've been watching Choosers with Terrence for 7 years and you still haven't done nothing. You're doing the same thing you've been doing for 7 years. It's either you're stubborn, pig-headed, prideful, scared, or embarrassed. I don't know what else it could be. And some of you have put stuff in place, and I applaud you. Some of you would not want to be my clients because you don't want me to know your business, and that's okay. But if you don't want me to know your business, why would you take my advice? The same. But it's your right, it's your prerogative. So let's start thinking like wealthy people. Claim it. Accept it. Proclaim it. Speak it into existence. Take away all the negative doubts you have in your mind of the things that you want to do or you can't do or you should do. If you're in a conundrum, try to get out of it slowly but surely. Right now, I have a bunch of people that I'm talking to, and none of them are moving forward. Like, I text several of them today. Hey, let's schedule some. Let's reschedule. Let's get on what we need to do. But the important thing is that what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to beg you, nor am I going to, what's the word? Force you. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not. What I'm going to do is keep educating you, keep informing you, and keep telling you what to do. So some of you have family members, they won't listen to you, but they might listen to me, because the Bible says, I think it's Luke chapter 4, a prophet is not welcome in his own land. So if you may know somebody who need help, they may not listen to you because they don't want you to know their business. But they don't know me. And that's why some people who know me don't want me to know their business. That's okay. But all I'm saying to them is simply this. Let me show you how you can change the trajectory of the things that you're doing. so that down the road you'll be good. So tonight we talked about the poor, we talked about the rich. Remember, the poor always talking about money, always trying to nickel and dime. Sometimes it's not their fault because they don't have the disposable income. We talk about the rich, they got to flex, they got to let you know what they're wearing and what they, you got to see the brands and stuff. And you have the wealthy who's thinking about ideas, creative ideas of how to make more. The wealthy people are always trying to figure out how their money can make them more money. And you see, poor people think about Saturday night, or what's happening Friday, or what's happening Saturday night. Wealthy people are thinking about two generations down the road, not even their kid, their kids' kids. And that's why wealthy families never go broke. Now you may say, well, they have the right, accountants and CPAs and investments. True. But you don't have to have their wealth to start. Start at what you can do. $50 a month, $25 a month, $100 a month. Some of you can do 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. It doesn't matter. I have a friend, and nobody knows who it is. And I was telling them something, and what I do, I call them by that name, and then they called me back by that name because I was doing the same thing. We can't be captain helping everybody. We got to help ourselves too. I know I need to do that. So what I'm saying to you guys is this. Starting today, think about what I said. Think about of how you can maximize what you're doing, change the trajectory of wealth building, wealth creation for your families down the road. You see, like I told you, wealthy people don't think about Saturday night. They're thinking about two generations down the road. Well, you may not be wealthy, but you could start thinking about next year or in 10 years. You see, if they're thinking about two generations down the road, that's not 10 years. That's like 40, 50 years down the road. Now you say, I can't see that far. Well, you're going to have to start practicing to see that far because you're going to be doing the same things you've been doing over and over and over and over again, and there'll be no new results. So I'm not here to tell you not to take your trips. I'm not here to tell you not to buy your designer stuff. I'm not here to tell you not to go to ball games, not to go to casinos, not to go to play your lottery. That's not my call. That's your call. What I'm saying is budget that into your budget, and then move accordingly. Wouldn't it be nice if you had an account that was building, and every year you could use it, borrow from it to use your vacation, and when you come back, you put it back, and don't interrupt the compounding of what you be getting? It's not rocket science, folks. You can do it. And I can show you how to do that. What people want me, like someone's asked me many times when I show examples, I don't really like showing examples on my show. This is an informational session. You want to know more? Look at the scrolling stuff. You know how to find, you all send me all kind of foolishness on social media. Hey, Havis, hey, Terrence, hey, Mr. Bardui, hey, little boy, hey, H. Could you tell me more about what you were talking about? When can we meet? I met someone last week at a job fair, and I met with them last Thursday, and I said, let's get on the Zoom so I can show you what I created for you. They said, well, I got to check my schedule. Okay. I got to wait for them. But don't let too late be your cry. Don't think I'm going to give him a 6 for a 9. I'm going to fool this dude. No, you're not fooling me, bro, or miss. You're fooling yourself. So I take great pride in teaching, great pride in showing, great pride in making sure. And the funny thing about when I talk to people, right, they want to see instant. Now, let's look at your future self. If you're 45, think about when you're 65. If you're 55, think about when you're 70, 75. Think about that. Some of you are not going to work forever. As long as I have my mental faculties, I can do this job. I'm talking to you, It looks like I'm in my office right now. I can do this show. I've done it anywhere. I've done it anywhere. I've done it from Texas, from Florida, from South Carolina, from Georgia, from North Carolina, from Virginia, from Maryland. I've done it in Delaware. I've done it in Pennsylvania, in New Jersey. I've done it in New York, in Massachusetts. I've done it in New Hampshire. I've done it in Vegas, Nevada, Texas. And I continue to educate, inform. So tonight, if you want to learn strategies that can change you from where you are to protect what you have, some of you have been doing a lot of stuff over the years, and it's okay that you didn't do what I said to do. It's okay that you went a different way. Maybe you wasn't sure. It's okay. What about today? We only have today. You don't even have yesterday, it's gone, and tomorrow's not promised. But you got today. What are you going to do today? You're going to change the trajectory of your thinking? Let's say knowledge is not power, folks. Applied knowledge is. If I have the cure for cancer and I don't tell anybody, how good is it? How good is that? It doesn't help anybody. So tonight, as you relax and sleep and do what you got to do, remember, the poor is always talking about money and always, where's my money at? Always looking for, even trying to find creative ways, whether by the hook or the crook, to get money. The the rich always got to flex their money because they have it. They have some kind, they either inherited it or they built it. They got to let you know they have it. But let's try to think about the wealthy, how they talk about ideas to grow. So if you don't have, speak with someone who can help you build something. For some people, wealth to them might be 100 grand. For some people, maybe $500,000. For some people, maybe millions. And what I'm saying to you is that I've said it before, I've said it again. I said a little while ago, knowledge is not power. It's applied knowledge. You got to apply it. You know, good evening, Marcelo. Sakafet. You love that. You love that. Oh, yeah, man. So my point is, it's one of those things, folks. Don't let anybody fool you and give you a 6 for a 9. My mother used to say, when we were lying, whenever I'm lying to her, don't give me a 6 for a 9, you know. A 6 is an upside down 9, and 9 is upside down 6, right? But she was trying to say, stop lying to me. This is not lies, folks. These are just genuine financial situations. So some of you are still working. You know, when you're ready to retire, you may have a 401k or 403b or 457 or a TSP. Let me help you roll that over. Folks, I don't care how much money you have or don't have. I don't care how wealthy or not you are. That's not important. I just want to protect what you have. I've told you guys, I have clients who are millionaires. I have clients who are paupers. And some of you fall in between that. It doesn't matter, folks. Let's just start. Think about your future self. The only person who can take care of your future self is your current self.
Battery time. Connected to virus alert scanner.
The show is called Tuesdays with Terrence. My name is H. Terrence Bardui. Some people call me H. Some people call me Havis. Some people call me Terrence. Some people call me Mr. Bardui. Some people call me Little Boy. If you're from the 767, Whitey Kubuli, tall is her body, the Commonwealth of Dominica, and you're from St. Luke's Parish, aka La Pointe, the Point Michelle, you call me Luku Boy. Dominica made me, Boston raised me, now the South sustains me. The show is called Tuesdays with Terrence. Thank you for tuning in. If you want to get on my calendar, let me know. Go to my DM. Some of you have my personal number. My number is scrolling right down there. Don't use the office number. Go straight to the cell phone. Yeah, New England Patriots. Go straight to my cell phone. All right? And we will have a consultation and show you how you can build what you need to do. Good night, everybody. God bless you. Mwah! I love you. Hasta la vista, babies. Mwah! Dominica made me. That's where it all began. Island breeze, coconut trees, the heart of our plan. From the hills and the smiles to the songs of the seas, that island spirit molded the person I be. Ow! Boston raised me with its hustle and grind. City lights shining, dreams intertwined. In the heart of this town, I found my way. A licensed financial pro, ready for the fray. On those snowy streets, learn to stand tall, navigating life, every rise, every fall. From the common to the brownstones, I made my claim. With every lesson learned, I embraced my name. Boston raised me with its hustle and grind. City lights shining, dreams intertwined. In the heart of this town, I found my way. A licensed financial pro, ready for the fray. Yes, the Boston Commons to the brownstones in the South End. Boston raised me, Dominica made me. Now the South sustains me with its warm embrace. A community of strength and love in every space. From the bayous to the beaches, I found my place. In this journey of finance, I've learned to chase grace. Dominica made me, Boston raised me high. The South sustains my soul as I reach for the sky. With every sunrise, I'm thankful and free. A licensed financial pro, just being me. Yeah. Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. I gotta go call a client. Good night, everybody. She was watching tonight. So here's to the roots that shaped who I am. From Dominica's beauty to Boston's Grand Slam. In the South I stand strong, with purpose and pride. Together with my journey, side by side. Tuesdays with Terrence, thank you for tuning in. Marie Jean-Pierre, Marcella Bardui, Cavell Scott, Martha Hillier, Peaches Goodwill, Alvin Vassar, and all the others who tune in today. Some of you, I couldn't see who you are. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you. Hasta la vista, babies. Until next Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The show is called Tuesdays with Terrence. Dominica made me. Boston raised me. Now the South sustains me. Good night, everybody. I love you. God bless you.